especially my sister, Jeanette Fonseca, who is a veteran as well. And I was looking through the Facebook page, and there are a lot of businesses here in town who are offering a lot of good stuff for our veterans, and so check it out.
The only comment I have is just to follow up, and I'm pretty sure everybody agrees with me here on Veterans Day. Thank you for your service to everyone who's in the military. Marshalltown loves its veterans. It really does. That being said, let's move on to consent agenda.
Move to approve, Your Honor.
Have a motion?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Questions, comments? Roll call, please.
Mitchell,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Schneider,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Fonseca,
Yes.
Kell,
Yes.
Lonniehoff.
Yes. Moving down to item G, resolutions.
Resolution 2024-252 approving the appointment of Christopher Cross as the fire chief for the city of Marshalltown, Iowa.
Move for approval, Your Honor. Second.
Have a motion and a second. Do we have any comments?
I do, Your Honor. I think this is an excellent choice.
Good. I think I would not disagree with you at all. Let's have roll. Oh, you have?
Yep. I met with the fire department a couple weeks ago, and it was a really good time to get to know Chief Cross and the squad. I have yet to go back, and I was unfortunately sick, so I didn't get to meet the second and third squad, but I will go back out and meet you guys.
Welcome anytime. Thank you.
Okay. Let's have roll call.
Schneider,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Fonseca,
Yes.
Kell,
Yes.
Lonniehoff,
Yes.
Mitchell,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Okay. Would Deputy Chief Crosser come front and center, please? There you go. Thank you. Are you ready?
Yes.
I
I, Christopher Cross,
do solemnly swear.
oops, sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America
Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America
and the Constitution of the State of Iowa,
and the Constitution of the State of Iowa,
and that I will faithfully and impartially,
that I will faithfully and impartially,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
discharge all duties of the Office of Fire Chief
discharge all duties of the Office of Fire Chief
in the City of
in
Marshalltown,
the City of Marshalltown,
Marshall County,
Marshall County,
State of Iowa as now or hereafter required by law.
Marshall County, State of Iowa, as now or hereafter required by law.
Congratulations,
Thank
Chief.
you. Honorable Mayor and Council, thank you for this this wonderful opportunity to lead the men and women standing behind me. I feel very privileged to be in this position, and I look forward to being your fire chief for quite some time, and thank you for placing your trust in me. I won't let you down.
Thank you, Chief. Okay, Fire Department, if you got anything to say, now's your last chance. Okay, moving on. Item number 2.
Resolution 2024-253 approving contract change order number 2 for the Riverview Park Phase 1 PRK 23001, an increase of $105,500.
Move for approval, Your Honor.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? Up here? Anything from the crowd? Heather? Might have to weigh that or something.
Hello, Heather Thomas, Public Works. Wanted to bring this change order in front of you guys and not on consent, just because it follows up with some discussion we've had previously out on Riverview Park. We did have favorable bids on that project, and initially the project was to expand the lagoon or slough or whatever we'd like to call it. That was not a need anymore from a stormwater perspective, but we did recognize there was still an aesthetic issue with what we have today. So this change order in front of you is to set hourly rates so that our contractor Construct can come in with a long reach excavator and do what they can to take out some of the material and silt that's in there. We're going to start on the upper end, so that'd be by the culvert outlet right on Woodland. We're going to go towards the bridge where the pedestrian bridge is. And then if we can get that far with the budget I have in here in the change order, we'll continue along closer to the river. But this is for approximately 3 weeks of dredging, and the cost is $105,000, and I'd open it up for questions.
Any questions? Thank you, Heather.
Thank you.
Let's have a roll call.
Nichols?
Yes.
Schneider?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Fonseca? Yes. Kell?
Yes.
Lottiehoff?
Yes.
Mitchell?
Yes.
Okay, item number 3.
Resolution 2024-254, accepting Iowa DOT offer of city bridge funding for the Center Street Bridge over Linn Creek.
Move to approve, Your Honor. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Questions or comments up here? Anyone out in the crowd? Hearing none. Roll call, please.
Fonseca? Yes. Kell?
Yes.
Lottiehoff?
Yes.
Mitchell?
Yes.
Nichols?
Yes.
Schneider?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Okay. Item number 4.
Resolution 2024-255, awarding banking services to First Interstate Bank for a period of 5 years beginning December 1st, 2024.
Move to approve, Your Honor. Second.
Diana Steiner, Finance Director. So every 5 years, we put this out for bid. We're currently with First Interstate Bank, and looking at their proposals, we will stay with First Interstate Bank. They had the best rate, and they're charging no fees. In addition to doing banking services, which is just our day-to-day, we're writing checks, we're making deposits. Outside of that, we also work with the other banks to get CD bids, so they are able to participate in that respect as well. Any questions? Thank you.
Anything from the audience? Let's have roll call.
Nichols?
Yes.
Schneider?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Fonseca? Yes. Kell?
Yes.
Lottiehoff?
Yes.
Mitchell?
Yes.
Okay, item number 5.
Public hearing and resolution 2024-256, approving plan specification form of contract and opinion of probable cost for the Linn Creek Trailhead and Bridge Project, number TRL 24001 and TRL 24002 in the city of Marshalltown, Iowa.
Okay, I'll call the public hearing open at 5:47 PM. Do we have anything from staff?
Good evening, Heather Thomas, Public Works. Before you tonight is a public hearing for the Linn Creek Trailhead and 6th Street pedestrian bridge. It includes not only the pedestrian bridge, where we're going to replace the old road bridge with a pedestrian bridge that you can have more than 5 people on it at one time, which is what we currently have it posted for. But it also includes the trailhead, which will be a large shelter that's intended for bikes, a small shelter next to the existing skate park, a restroom, an overlook to Linn Creek. Right now, we've issued one addendum. We're currently accepting bids and questions from contractors. Bids are due Thursday, the 21st. We currently have a construction estimate of $2,505,000, and this public hearing is required through the Iowa Code process to allow anybody to ask questions and hear their concerns on the project or interest for the project. So with that, I'll open it up for questions.
Anyone have anything for Heather? Thank you, Heather. Do I have any comments from the crowd? Hearing none, I call the public hearing closed at 5:49 PM. Let's move on to roll call.
We need a motion.
I'd like to make the motion, Your Honor. Motion to approve.
Second.
Didn't have that? We do now. Okay, roll call.
Mitchell,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Schneider,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Fonseca,
Yes.
Kell,
Yes.
Bodyhoff.
Yes. Okay, item number 6.
Public hearing and resolution 2024-257, approving plan specification, form of contract, and opinion of probable cost for the Linn Creek District Water Plaza Project, number PRK 22004, in the city of Marshalltown, Iowa.
Okay, I call the public hearing open at 5:50 PM. Heather, do you have anything for this?
Good evening. So we're going to do the same thing, but this time on the Water Plaza project. This project, we're using the services of Bolton and Mink. This project is planned to go in near the Mega 10 Park area. It will have an interactive water plaza. It'll have a restroom. It'll have a sculpture that was used and resulted from the public engagement. Additional landscaping. So far, we have not issued any addendums. We are receiving bids through Wednesday, November 20th. We have a base construction cost of $2,200,000, and that is for all the water features, all the restrooms, and those kind of things outside of the sculpture itself. And with that, I'll open it up for questions.
Does anyone have any questions for Heather?
Yes, Linda Clark, 306 South 2nd Avenue. I question the expense with this water park, and will this be something, Heather, that will be year-round functionable? How will we do this in the winter weather and like that? That's what I'm concerned about. There didn't seem to be very much activity at the aquatic center this summer, and I don't feel that millions of dollars being spent on something in a large scale like what this appears to be is something that we, the city of Marshalltown, really should afford. I mean, that's my concerns. I just question. Water parks are seasonal.
I'll do my best to answer that question, but I'd invite Councilor Lottiehoff to join in because I know he sat in that group. During the winter, we will winterize the Water Plaza interactive water elements of it and the restroom. We don't want those to freeze, and so those will turn off. But I believe this event space has been designed to accommodate gatherings even outside the period of time that you would expect people to play in the water. And I think that was the intent behind the collection of the people that gathered for that.
Yeah, you're correct, Heather. The idea isn't just to have a water feature there, but also even when the water isn't running, that we have a great gathering space, a place that you can bring your family, your friends to sit. It's going to be right on the bike path. It's going to be amazing. The city's share, the amount that the city is going to spend is $500,000. It's not 2.1 million. The rest of the money is either grants or donations that have been made toward the project.
May I please have a follow-up? Linda Clark, you say grants and like that. Well, I know that grants and things can be rescinded and not given. Are these all guaranteed grants that the city is going to receive, that we will be guaranteed to get it? I have reservation. I think this is entirely too much money for the city to be spending. That's my personal opinion. I don't feel that we can afford all of this. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. Anyone else? Did we have any written comments?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. I'm going to call the public hearing closed at 5:54 PM. And would accept a motion to approve.
Move to approve, Your Honor.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Let's have roll call.
Kell,
Yes.
Bodyhoff,
Yes.
Mitchell,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Schneider,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Fonseca.
Yes.
Okay, moving on to ordinances.
Ordinance 15092 to amend the Code of Ordinances, City of Marshalltown, Iowa by repealing Chapter 72 parking rules and adopting new co-sections for Chapter 72 parking rules, third reading.
Move for approval, Your Honor.
Second.
Heather?
Good evening, Heather Thomas, Public Works. This is going to be our third reading tonight of quite a extensive amount of changes in Chapter 72 and corrections between 72 and 156, the zoning code that was updated in 2022. This is the third reading. We've talked about it in depth in previous discussions and readings, so the only thing I'll mention is this does incorporate the change that was requested at the second reading, where we now are allowing gravel as an acceptable material for parking pads. With that, I'll open it up for questions.
I'd like to make a motion to move that we strike the gravel, and if there's a second, then I will explain my reason.
Second.
In reviewing this after the fact, I could understand why it's very hard to basically manage and codify the gravel, how much gravel, what is required, how it's maintained. I see an issue, that very possible issue with weeds and all that kind of stuff coming up through, and so therefore I'm changing my vote for this because I see it as being an unmanageable addition.
Fair enough. I guess I'd like to reply to that. It's clearly stated how big the pad can be, so that restricts the amount of gravel that you can use. It would be the same thing as concrete. How much concrete you can use is how much you want to put in there, 3-inch, 4-inch, anything like that, which is acceptable. But it can't be spread all over the place, no. We have square footage requirements for this. So myself, anyway, I find that gravel's an acceptable surface. Any other comments?
Your Honor, may I? So with the gravel, I think that it's one of 5 options, and that doesn't mean that every single homeowner is going to make a gravel parking pad. I think that if we're looking out for the constituents in the Marshalltown community and the homeowners, giving them an option to have a more economic route in making this, then I think that we should vote for them. And when we talk about, the weeds and the aesthetic of the gravel pad, I think it all comes down to the workmanship. A gravel pad can look really nice compared to maybe one that was done with concrete or asphalt, and it's not as nice. So I think what it comes down to is workmanship and the quality. And if we look up on Google gravel parking pads, there's some really nice ones. You can make them look really nice, and I think that giving the community a choice is important.
Your Honor, if I may?
Yes, you may.
Yes, just looking at how people take advantage of situations in town here with the codes, I don't think it's a good idea to put the gravel in. Our code enforcement officers are up to their necks in checking things out and getting things in code, and I feel that people will be taking advantage and not doing it the correct way, and we won't have no way to stop it. So my vote will be no.
Your Honor.
Yes.
Leading up to this discussion, I looked, in 2024, Marshalltown was the 17th largest community in the state. So I looked at the 5 communities bigger than us, so that's Cedar Falls, Bettendorf, Waukee, Urbandale, Dubuque, and then the 5 cities smaller than us, to see what they did, if there was a best practice. And I did not find any language that supported the use of gravel. It was all hard surface, poured, dust-free, which I had to look at definitions, again, prohibiting the use of gravel. So as I think the larger picture, I understand we're giving people options with the inclusion of gravel, but if we go back to the spring when Planning and Zoning placed forth their recommendation, it wasn't to allow any parking pads at all, which wasn't there to start with. So we are giving them options with the inclusion of this. And then we all know the desire and the need to increase property values in our community, both from the properties that we have or through new builds. And I guess I don't see how the inclusion of gravel helps support that. So I will not be voting. I will be voting in favor of not including gravel.
Anyone else? Anything out there?
I'll just weigh in quick, Mike. I agree with Mark and Barry that we can't allow gravel. It's got to be concrete. I do believe there's going to be, since we don't have any standards for what the minimum build requirements would be, I don't feel like introducing that into our code of saying, well, it has to be 5 inches and it has to be inspected and all this other stuff. I just think we disallow gravel and go with concrete. It's much better, or the other options as well. I just think gravel will be abused.
I guess I might as well, Your Honor. So, when we first started this, I said I didn't care what we did in the backyard parking. I said I would go along with the consensus, but people reached out to me up the gravel, so I made that motion, it failed. Next meeting, Melissa made the motion, it passed. Legal said that was fine. But reading the room tonight, I just want something that's going to be enforceable. And if the consensus is that it's going to open up a can of worms, then I guess I will be changing my vote to ban the gravel. So.
Okay.
Linda Clark, 306 South 2nd Avenue. We have changed a lot of code things in Marshalltown. We changed from residential, we have family traditional homes, we have all of these things. I have a fourplex rental property to the north of me. It's only a half a lot. The whole backyard has been graveled. They mow the gravel. And that's just north of my property along the alley. The other lot that's owned by that property owner, the house was burnt down on it. I am in the block where the old jail is in very bad repair. And you say you want to have ordinances that are going to be adhered to, but when we're restricting more and more and changing names, and I thanked Melissa for agreeing that we needed to have options in our backyard, and I do agree with her. There are gravel that does look very nice. My yard is registered Plant Grow Fly and it has been since 2018. And I'm working on landscaping in my backyard that I've lived at my entire life. And so I think we need to have the options. Those new people coming into town, look at the ones that I have heard here. They don't even have a place to park for houses that they've bought, and snow is coming. And we have snow ordinances that are going to have to be adhered to. And so I think we need to have options. And it would be nice if everybody had a beautiful home and had everything the way they wanted. But there's a lot of people that are retired here. And we can't afford some of the things that are these pretty wants that the city now seems to be wanting. And my needs come first, people. But thank you, Melissa, for appreciating what I said.
Thank you, Linda. Anybody else? Okay, first we need to deal with the amendment. Is that roll call?
Schneider,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Fonseca,
With the what?
The amendment to ban the gravel.
No.
Kell,
Yes.
Bodyhoff,
No.
Mitchell,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Okay, amendment passed. Now let's move back to the ordinance.
Yes, to adopt the third reading, I'll call the roll call. Kell?
Yes.
Lottiehoff?
No?
Mitchell?
Yes.
Nichols?
Yes.
Schneider?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Fonseca?
No.
Okay. Moving on to number 2.
Ordinance 15095 to amend Table 156.B.004-1 and Section 156.J.005-1D1 of the Code of Ordinances, City of Marshalltown, Iowa, third reading.
John Boston, 1710 Rainbow Drive.
We need a motion, please.
I move to approve.
Second.
Okay.
Yeah. John Boston, 1710 Rainbow Drive, Marshalltown, Chairman of Planning and Zoning Commission. Just a reminder, this is to eliminate duplicate public hearings, which is on special use permits that are only required on Board of Adjustment, and to update this table to include a number of building types that were left off the table originally when the zoning code was rewritten about 2.5 years ago. So,
Anyone have any questions for John?
thank you.
Thank you, John. Anything from the public? Roll call.
Lottiehoff?
Yes.
Mitchell?
Yes.
Nichols?
Yes.
Schneider?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Fonseca?
Yes.
Kell?
Yes.
Moving on to number 3.
Ordinance 15096 to amend the Code of Ordinances, City of Marshalltown, Iowa by amending Chapter 77, Parking Schedules, second reading.
I hear a
Move for approval.
Second.
motion and a second. Go ahead, Heather.
Heather Thomas, Public Works. This is the second reading where we're talking about changing the schedules and where we do and don't allow parking and the restrictions associated with that. At the first reading, we stepped line by line through all of those changes. So the only thing I will add is that at the last meeting, there was a motion to amend the ordinance to add that you could not use a exemption permit for restricted parking downtown between the hours of 2:30 and 5:30 in the morning when the road is closed. So it now reads, the exemption is not valid when the snow ordinance is in effect or the road is closed. With that, I'll open it up for questions.
Honor, if I may.
Yes, you may.
Heather, I have a technical question about my street, so what I know what to tell my neighbors. Realistically, you and I talked, it's not going to get painted or signed until spring. So this ordinance goes into effect, they don't know it. Are they allowed to continue doing what they're doing now until it gets painted?
Yeah, so when this ordinance goes into effect, it also states currently in the ordinance that there must be either signs or pavement marking to designate that something other than parallel parking is allowed. So until the time which we would either pavement mark or put signs up, they would continue to do parallel parking.
Thank you. Thank you, Your Honor.
Your Honor, may I?
Yes, you may.
Heather, could you explain, I think the streets in the 4th Ward close to the high school are on this, and they would be switched to permit parking, right? So could you explain how the constituents would need to apply for that, and just kind of what they would be doing in the 4th Ward, what they would need to do?
Yeah, so there's a stretch of 3rd Ave, I believe, just north of Bobcat Boulevard that's being added to the schedule that we do not allow parking unless they have a permit. The people in that area that would be allowed to have a permit would be school employees or residents. And that permit comes at no cost, and all they need to do is reach out to the city clerk for that information. And I believe in the past when we have made this change, I think we've also sent letters out to everybody that's impacted along that route so that they know that they're able to come and get a permit from the city.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Anyone from the public have any questions? Thank you, Heather.
Roll call? Okay. Mitchell?
Yes.
Nichols?
Yes.
Schneider?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Fonseca?
Yes.
Kel?
Yes.
Vladdyhoff?
Yes. Okay, now we're moving on to discussion items. The first discussion item is the Arts and Culture Alliance funding request. I believe all the counselors have gotten information on this. Go ahead.
Okay, let me get this pulled up here. Oops. I'm going to do my best to go quick because you guys are moving fast tonight. I don't want to be the reason to keep people here, but I can't make any promises. Good evening, I'm Amber Danielson. I'm the Executive Director of the Arts and Culture Alliance. And I first wanted to start off by saying that I do not stand up here alone tonight in making this request. Same as last year, we've included many letters of support from local businesses, building owners, nonprofits, education partners, and community development partners, many of who are here tonight. Instead of revisiting the same case of support we presented almost a year ago to the day, which remains just as strong and relevant, tonight I'm going to focus on what we've accomplished in 2024 and where we're headed as we look to the future. While we are here again due to circumstances beyond the city and the Alliance's control, we are excited to share the next step for implementing the Arts and Culture Master Plan. And although we could have made this request months ago, we chose to wait so we could be part of welcoming Carol and wanted to ensure that this partnership aligns with her vision for the future, and we're eager to work together in this next phase of progress. In response to Marshtown's growth and momentum we've seen over the last year, we have renewed our strategic plan, establishing a clear path for activating the Arts and Culture Master Plan and launching initiatives to continue to transform Marshtown into a vibrant hub of innovation. With a focused commitment on implementing the Arts and Culture Master Plan, we've expanded our core functions to include activation. Our strategic priorities, the key areas are going to maximize impact, include investing in the creative community, enhancing placemaking, fostering professional development, and advocating for the importance of the arts. In the next few slides, I'm just going to quickly highlight some of our strategic plan. We are focused on activating the Arts and Culture Master Plan through targeted initiatives that invest in the creative community. Key objectives include establishing 2 primary grant programs, Community Artist Grant and Innovation Grant. These grants will be aligned with the goals and placemaking themes in the Arts and Culture Master Plan. In addition, we aim to grow both public and private investment by actively seeking expanded local, state, regional, and national funding opportunities to further fuel the growth of arts and culture in Marshalltown. There we go. To celebrate and elevate the local arts and culture community, we are committed to expanding Take Part Marshalltown campaign and engaging residents through various initiatives. Key objectives include launching a Take Party Ambassador program to help spread community pride and actively involve local residents in community events, programs, and positive communication. Additionally, we aim to strengthen collaboration with the broader community by infusing the local creative community in existing events and programs, while also hosting listening sessions to ensure that all voices are heard. Through these efforts, we will amplify the arts and creative scene in a more inclusive, vibrant landscape for all. We are dedicated to connecting and empowering our creative community by serving as a bridge builder. Our strategies include creating professional development programs that address the evolving needs of the local arts and culture sector. We regularly assess skill development needs while leading and networking learning sessions to facilitate growth. Furthermore, to strengthen leadership within the creative community, we have activated an artist advisory cohort to foster collaboration and mentorship. And through these efforts, we aim to build a robust network that supports, connects, and empowers Marshalltown's creative community. Sorry. And finally, we're focused on promoting the value of arts through strategic partnerships, data-driven insights, and community engagement. Our objectives include creating a community-wide report on the economic impact of arts and culture, highlighting the strong link between arts engagement and economic prosperity. And lastly, to embed arts and culture within the broader community planning, we will continue to partner with city leadership to ensure creativity is integrated into infrastructure projects and other urban development initiatives. You've seen this slide before. Our greatest success in implementing the master plan comes from placing creativity at the core of public-private partnerships. This approach has led to increased innovation, impact, community engagement, and resources. Furthermore, we are putting Marshalltown on the map and showcasing how the arts are an economic driver for attracting, retaining, and engaging both residents and newcomers. This was showcased in September, where the Chamber hosted the Professional Developers of Iowa Conference, and nearly 200 economic development leaders from across the state explored how arts, culture, and creativity play a vital role in community development. In the next few slides, I will showcase this model in action. You've seen some of these slides before, so bear with me. Following the city's support of the master plan last year, we were able to leverage that investment and more than double the support locally over the course of the next 5 years. This support enabled us to expand our creative leadership team so that we could focus on the services with the city in the area of creative placemaking while also enhancing our services to the greater community. The additional support that we garnered was successful because of the city's investment. The private sector not only desires but requires the city's participation in this work. You've seen this data before, but the numbers clearly demonstrate how transformative this approach has been on many levels in our community. This partnership with the Marshalltown Community School District, what started as one video turned into 7, and in 6 months reached over 100,000 people and turned into 17 awards for the district. And you've seen this one too. You're all familiar with the Linn Creek District projects, which highlight successful public-private partnerships between the city, chamber, and alliance, driven by creativity. A prime example in this is the Apgar Family Water Plaza, the city's first project to require an artist from the start, resulting not only 1, but 2 awards in 2024. In support with the recent contract with the city, the Alliance also was successful in helping garner $1.1 million in grant, of which we still have additional outstanding, and in 6 months raised in partnership with the Chamber and City $2.45 million, 39 times the return on investment of the city's investment in the Alliance in 2024. The key themes in our new strategic plan and continued partnership with the city are creative placemaking, grant making, Take Part Marshalltown, and community engagement. Our public-private partnership will continue to benefit the city for garnering additional private support through fundraising and grant writing and accessing resources that the city is unable to activate. Empowering others by investing in our creative community, engaging the community to ensure the city's work was reflective of all who call Marshalltown home, and ensuring that our community is represented in the most vibrant and prideful way. We will be allocating 100% of these funds towards the implementation of the Arts and Culture Master Plan, including the additional $5,000 going towards the community band. Based on estimates from previous projects and our previous contract, we're looking at a very similar allocation to 2024, approximately 10% towards creative storytelling and Take Part Marshalltown, 30% towards the creative placemaking process, and 60% towards creative project elements. We recognize the challenging financial situation the city faces, and we deeply respect the tough decisions that come with budgeting. However, we believe this is a critical investment in strengthening the city's ability to fulfill its mission and vision, while also sending a clear message to its residents that we are committed to making Marshalltown a vibrant and welcoming place, a community that not only values its past, but embraces its future by celebrating the people who call it home. And bear with me, I'm going to show you a quick video that we are debuting at City Council. How many people say that? Hopefully the sound works. And it's not going to. Unmuted would help. Let's try it again. Okay, 2 more slides. In closing, I'd like to share a simple but powerful reminder that I keep on my computer screen, which I brought for the record. For those of you who know me, and our summer intern's parents are here, she would tell you that I am obsessed with sticky notes. I heavily rely them to keep me on track. This one in particular says 10 night over year success. Building a vibrant arts and culture scene is a long-term commitment. And we have proven over the last year it will transform our community in ways that are truly worth the investment. From the beginning, we've emphasized that the master plan belongs to all of us. It's a vision that reflects our shared aspirations and requires collective effort to bring it to life. The impact of the creative sector in Marshalltown has been profound. Investing in the arts isn't just about aesthetics. It's about fostering a community that values creativity as a foundation for growth and connection. Together, we can create something lasting that benefits everyone, and we invite you to take part with us. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Anyone have any questions?
Your Honor, if I may?
Go ahead.
Yes, Amber, how much money is going to salaries out of this?
To salaries, let me pull it up in front of me. The 10% that's going, 30% that's going towards the creative placemaking process is going towards operating expenses, that is going towards the grant writing, going to the project management. It is to the creative placemaking process that we are doing in collaboration with the city. That's where you saw those numbers on the return on investment. And so I right now have been the grant writer, really kind of a ghost grant writer on behalf of the city. That's where you saw the $1.1 million that was raised, along with all of the other things that we have done in partnership for creative placemaking.
And you're planning on giving $5,000 to the bank, or to the band?
Correct.
Okay. How many concerts have you been to in last year's season?
I've been to several, yeah.
How many?
2. You know, Mark, there are tons of arts and culture events in the community. I
Understand
cannot
that.
physically go to all of them, and
Well, I attended all of them except the one in Conrad. We sold T-shirts to give to the band, and that wasn't even advertised. The band didn't advertise that we were doing that, and there was an average of 50 people to each concert, and that's not even 1% of Marshalltown. So I think this money could be spent a lot better. We need people for impact. I'd much rather see getting a couple more impact officers to relieve the load on them. And there's no reason why the band can't do their own fundraising.
the band has done some fundraising. If you'll notice, the amount that is being requested is less than what was brought to you in the spring. This has been a historical support of the community. Brett, correct me if you're wrong. We're celebrating 150 years next year. This is something that many cities all over the state, all over the country invest in to bring vibrancy. And it's not just about the attendees, it's about the people that are up there performing, many of which, and some are city employees, people that don't have a creative outlet. And so it's more than just the attendance. Do you have anything to add to that?
Agreed. I need to go to the microphone. Yeah, our impact,
Your name and address, please.
Brett Umthen, 2510 Knollway Drive, Marshalltown. Yeah, the impact of our participating members makes them feel a part of the community. It helps with their outreach to the community. Those that are in attendance have grown over the years. We have reached a number of members that have joined in the past number of years. The money from the city and from this project goes a long ways to help with the work. You mentioned the salary for the members that are doing the work, the grant writing and so forth. That's part of it, putting the time and effort as musicians to excel at our craft and to work at it and show the community that we have something awesome to offer. And we want to continue that in a big way. And then the way for us to continue doing that with your support would be greatly appreciated.
Just to add one thing, hopefully what's clear in the strategic plan as well is that we are hopefully going to amplify, in partnership with the city, continued professional development. A lot of our arts and culture organizations are all volunteer boards, all volunteer organizations. We have a role that we would like to play in partnering with them to help get the word out. So hopefully we can see more attendees at these events. That is the entire core of what Take Part Marshalltown is. And this is one of many arts and culture assets that the community is enjoying. Not all of them result in thousands of people like the Harvest Market, but we're reaching lots of different people in lots of different ways. Any other questions?
Anyone else have any questions?
So mine really isn't a question so much of Amber, because she's done a very clear job of explaining to me of what they do. My question kind of relates to other requests we're getting from nonprofits of city help fund us. So the question is, what are going to be our guidelines for supporting a nonprofit and funding a nonprofit out of tax dollars? So that is a question I'd like to, for me personally, I'd say we have to see a clear deliverable and a clear project and timeline. Then I think I would support it. But what is going to be the council's guidelines for what nonprofits we support and what nonprofits we don't support? Because there's more than just ACA that is coming to the city for requests for funding.
Your Honor?
Yes.
Amber, I loved your quote, 10-year overnight success, because that's totally true. I'm around town, and I see all these things that the ACA has been mainly responsible for, although there's a lot of other parties involved, and I appreciate all their work. This would be a lot more boring-looking town and not nearly as fun, or, sometimes you get the shivers up your spine and say, hey, this is really cool, and I just imagine what it's going to be in 10 more years. So I plan to support this. I'd like to make a motion to direct city staff to bring this agreement back as outlined in the memo with some funding options.
I will second.
I have a motion and a second. Anything from?
Is there going to be more public?
Go ahead.
Karen, Karen Angesser, and I am a member of the community band. I started playing clarinet in a community band in Ohio in 8th grade. I will be 80 years old in January, and I'm still playing. I get short of breath once in a while, but I'm still playing. I can't go out and play soccer. I can't play pickleball. I used to play tennis. I don't anymore, but I can still play clarinet. It is an outlet. And some of you may remember Ann Sweeney. Ann played trombone until she was in her 80s in the community band. And we need outlets in the community beyond the arts of drawing and painting and that kind of thing, beyond the sports. We also need to promote music. And that is being done with many of the festivals and things. People are out there dancing and playing. But the community band is a different outlet, and it provides an outlet for young students. As soon as they're capable of reading that music and joining in the band, they do, if they want to. For some students, they're giving up a job during that rehearsal time and concert time, so giving them a little financial benefit for being there helps to keep the young people involved. And the older people, we've reached the point where, okay, if we give up our little payment that we get, the stipend for being there, some of us actually did that this year to make the band survive. But for the younger people, that money is valuable to helping keep them involved. So I would like to request that you reconsider giving support to our band. It's not the $11,000 or $9,000 we requested originally. $5,000 does not cover our expenses for music and the equipment and everything. But with our fundraising going along with it, with the support that you gave us, $5,000 makes it doable. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Linda Clark, 306 South 2nd Avenue. I'm 75 years at my residence, and I agree with Mr. Nickel. If I serve my memory right, we have about 359 nonprofits in this Marshalltown city, and I know that everyone cannot be supported. I cut back on my food myself, and there have been homeless people that have spoke up here for the homeless, saying that we need to have a facility for the homeless. I haven't seen major growth in people moving into the city. 27,000 about is what we have. And I've talked to a number of people that work here that don't live here and have been told, well, got 2 years and I'm leaving. I'm planning to stay. And I think we need to listen to what Mr. Nickel said and which Mr. Mitchell said. We have to budget our money within our means because we all have to give up something. I paid my property taxes for the year. That was a plus for me. My dirt is mine.
Your Honor?
Let's let him talk first.
My name is Tom Apgar, 1717 Renee Drive, Marshalltown. I was prepared to give a little bit of a long thing, but I think I'll just, Amber did such a great job with her presentation, and that slide, that audiovisual thing was really inspiring, so way to go. I think it's kind of a, John Hall and Amber Danielson approached me, and they explained to me the concept of public-private partnerships and how things get done. And they described to me about placemaking and creative placemaking, new terms to me a year ago. And then they gave me an audiovisual presentation on the water plaza, and they were asking for a significant donation and a name in return for a namesake to recognize my family. And so I bought into it 110%, and I still am, of course. So I'm just here really to say how much I believe in the great things that the Marshalltown Arts and Culture Alliance are doing, the Chamber's doing, the City of Marshalltown is doing, you great people here on the council, the supervisors. I'm so happy to hear that our fire department and police department are able to hire within, and because they know the people that can be the head chiefs, and that says something. I'm so happy that the courthouse is done. I'm so happy that 68% of the taxpayers voted for the reimagined Miller. And that really says a signal, a strong signal that the taxpayers are willing to incur additional expense because they see the big picture, just like the Linn Creek district's going to be the big picture, and just like the courthouse renovation was the big picture. And so I'm a 100% community supporter, 3 generations of portrait photographers on Main Street, Marshalltown, and I support all the great organizations, and I'm just here to say the glass isn't half empty, it's 80% full. We got a great community, and I love it. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening. I'm Josh Cox, 508 North 5th Street. I'm a local artist and a board member of the Arts and Culture Alliance ex officio. My major mission with the art scene here in Marshalltown is developing artists and an artist community, an artist network. We want to talk about deliverables. I worked directly with the Alliance this summer to produce 2 art exhibits, the Summer Artist Series. Those 2 exhibits featured 4 different local artists, 2 different musicians, and each had an attendance of over 200 people, community members coming downtown to see the show, to be downtown. We partnered with a local business, and through the Alliance, we were able to give the artists a little bit of stipend, give the musicians stipend, and pay for the venue. In order for artists to make work and be a part of this community and for us to grow the artistic scene, artists need opportunities. We don't have opportunities without a place to show artwork, without opportunities and time to create artwork. We all have jobs. This isn't the kind of town where artists can really be full-time professional artists. So we need to work with entities like the Alliance and local businesses and local community members to provide opportunities for those artists. My imagining is, I think big, right? There's 1,000 ideas for how we can further grow this community and this artistic community, this great, vibrant community. Imagine an art center downtown, right? Imagine every month we have a great art show. We have musicians, we have plays, we have dancers, we have musicians, artists. I already said these things. We have 200, 300 people every month coming downtown for these events. Imagine a community-wide sculpture show in all the parks and all the community venues. Wouldn't that be great? We had visitors not just from Marshalltown, but from Des Moines, from all over the state coming to these art shows this summer. The arts do bring people in, not just the soft benefits of what a great place to live, which is pretty important, but also money and tourism and quality of life. So I'll keep it brief with that. People smarter than me could speak to the numbers here, but in terms of quality, in terms of partnership, in terms of opportunities for artists and for people who appreciate the arts in general and quality of life, I support this 1,000 times.
Can I ask a question?
Of course.
So would you be opposed to it being per project, per event, per some kind of a stipend, so it's not a flat rate that's non-trackable over a 5-year period? This seems like it's a pretty blank check to me.
For the grant program the Alliance has in place is an amazing idea, and that would come down to specific projects to be funded in a particular way. I think the Alliance has to have this envelope of money, this basket of money to dole out for specific projects. All those projects would be tracked, would be budgeted, would be financed, would be very specific. You could really look at those projects and say, this is how these specific projects are being funded. But we can't really do that in this kind of setting. I think you have to have that money available to the Alliance to dole out specifically, line item. Does that make sense? Thank you.
Mike, can I respond to that? I'm going to cut Ellie off. She's here. I asked her to be here so I can cut her off. For the record, I will make sure that I send you our report that very clearly states where we spent and where this money went. I can assure you every dollar is accounted for, and you are not handing over a blank check.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. My name is Dr. Elizabeth Harris Medina, or Ellie, and I'm from 712 West Main Street in Marshalltown. And I'd like to share my experience and support of the Arts and Culture Alliance, an organization that has helped Marshalltown feel like home. and home again. So I actually grew up here. My parents moved whenever I was in second grade. They opened some of the local Mexican restaurants back in 1999. Went to school here, graduated high school, then like many of us, went on to the University of Iowa, then was a transplant in Kentucky for the past 10 years. So my husband, Ben, and I had twins almost 2 years ago. And for any of those who have kids, you know that it takes a village to raise kids, especially twins, if anybody's a twin parent. So it was a no-brainer that we wanted to come back to Marshalltown, and not only because our family was here, but because we really appreciated how rich it was in diversity and culture, and what a sense of community and a great place that we could raise our kids, where I grew up, where my siblings are raising their kids, and we were just really excited to come back. So since coming back, we've been really thrilled, from helping with the cultural festival downtown, or encouraging my mom to share her art for Dia de los Muertos at the public library. It has just been so sweet to know that our culture is being shown in such a positive way. Recently, we see so many negative things about different identities, and what a cool way that a community embraces its diverse population and celebrates the culture, and not just for people sharing their culture, but for others, so we can have a positive view of everybody in our community. So the Arts and Culture Alliance is at the heart of all of this. It offers everyone in our community, and especially our youth, opportunities to inspire and explore. We had some people share about how amazing it is to be able to bring youth in, and if they're doing something positive, then hopefully they're not getting in trouble. We're offering opportunities for them to engage in something beautiful. And we talked about like the band only bringing 50 people in. Well, Amber and I have talked about different events. I've worked at universities and event planning, and the big $1 million question is, well, this event isn't inclusive, or it's not for everyone. Like, how do we make an event that tracks every single person? Well, that's impossible, because we're all so different. Like, what a beautiful thing that we can have so many different events that are different passions for different groups of people here in Marshalltown, and the Arts and Culture Alliance does that, especially with their new grant program. So I just wanted to share my experience, and know we're really lucky that we were able to choose Marshalltown, and we've been really excited to attend a lot of the arts and cultural events, and it makes us really excited because that's what we loved about Lexington. Now, we can say Marshalltown is our forever home, and we're really excited to raise our family here, and hopefully being able to make it more beautiful and see all the cultures and everybody has to share. Thank you.
Thank you.
Honor.
I'd
Your
like to
Honor.
make just a couple comments. The first thing was, I was bored one day, and I got to playing around on the internet, and I came across this guy that all he does is drives around and films towns. And he happened to be on the east side of Iowa. I think he went through Muscatine. And I swear, all he does is he puts the camera up on his dash and just drives around. And then he'll go to the next town and just drive around. And he'll say really interesting stuff like, oh, there's the school, or, that looks like that might be a good restaurant. And that's all he does. He went through about 4 different towns. And they were all really nice. But I'm going to be real honest with you, they all looked the same. Exactly the same. And then later on, the hurricane hit, came up through Florida and through Georgia. And one of the hardest hit towns, and I can't remember the name of it, you've all heard of it, it wiped out the whole town. The economic development for them is going to be very bad. They were known as a town that promoted artistry, artists. They estimated in that county that it probably will cost them in the neighborhood of $10 million, if not more, in economic money. They don't know if they can even rebuild it. But imagine having a town that everybody remembers when they drive through. When this guy with the camera, maybe he'll come through Marshalltown. It's going to look different than every other town in Iowa. Every town's got the main street, every town's got some of them have a courthouse and everything like that. But Marshalltown is interesting, and it's creative. I know that if you involve the public in creating art and sculptures and whatnot, it creates something that's called social capital. And that connects people to the town that they live in. Years ago, I used to do a lot of fundraising for playground equipment for schools, elementary schools, here in Marshalltown. I've still got quite a bit of equipment out there. But every time I drive by that, I think to myself, yeah, you know, that's kind of cool. And it connects me to this community. And then we can be creative. So I think from the return on investment alone, if you were just, someone were to hand you and say, look, I can get you 37 times 37 on your money, you'd be a fool not to pull it out. Any project that we have handed Amber, she's gone above and beyond. She punches above her weight. That's the way it's said. She punches above her weight. And I'm not trying to embarrass you or anything. But, so that's my feelings about this. We can be creative. It can create jobs and economic development while we're doing it. And that's some of the things that sometimes get passed by, along with being interesting and fun and alive here in town. So does anyone else have anything?
Yes, I do.
May I, since you've spoken 3 times already? Thank you. So throughout the presentation and people's comments, I took some notes, and I have 4 key ones here. Mayor Pro Tem Lottie Hoff just spoke about the ROI. I think it's pretty clear we can't afford not to invest in this. We need to amplify and stretch every dollar that we have from a city perspective, and I think the ACA does that best in class. When we get to the band, we did hear about how it's a multi-generational band. How does that not support the values of what we're trying to promote as a community? That's fantastic and probably not really replicated in any other endeavor within the community. My daughter took part in painting the Anson Shelter House, and I still hear about it every single time we drive by. That's instilling ownership and connection to Marshalltown as an 8-year-old. I mean, that's fantastic. That's unbelievable. And then the last one, the challenge or the question on the rigor on what we're doing, or what the ACA would be doing with the city's funds. I guess I would challenge us. We didn't hold that same standard when we signed a 5-year agreement with the Chamber for economic development with deliverables. So just ask for a little consistency, or if you don't support it, just be forthcoming with that. Don't try to create a sleight of hand. Thank you.
Your Honor, if I may.
Yes, you may.
I'll start by saying this. I want gold-plated bike trails too. I do. But until somebody shows me where the money tree is that we're going and pulling leaves off of, I sit here every meeting and I think of what is the best way to spend money. And I'm a little different. I don't think that it is a 39 return on investment, because I don't think that those of you in the artist community are taking into consideration what we have done as a body and the bodies before us. The band has a nice stage to play on now. This body put that there in West End Park and provided the playground area for the kids to play on while the band's playing. And, you know, spruce it up, and we'll continue to put money down there in a restroom and things like that. Tonight, we just voted on millions of dollars for a bike trail that include art on the bridge to match the Water Plaza feature. We voted on the Water Plaza feature. That's your art and culture. Okay? We just spent $100,000 just to dredge half of the lagoon at Riverview Park, where a lot of cultural events take place. And that'll get us to halfway through the lagoon. We'll probably do another $100,000 to finish that. Okay? And it's like there was $4,000 in the consent agenda that we did a change order for the park. I mean, I could go on, and you're downplaying that our contribution is not existent beyond this ask. And we are spending millions of dollars to add art and culture to this city. People come to us with projects, and we are approving those. So I don't you know, and I'm going to go back to something that Mark said earlier. 3 of us did minimal work, and we raised $1,700 for the band last year. You're right, it wasn't what the ask was. But 3 of us raised $1,700. So I did some math here. If you had teams of 3, you would need 77 teams of 3, which is only 231 people. What is that, 1%, less than 1% of the population of Marshalltown? And if they each raise $1,700, you'd have your $130,000 a year. So we're going to go into budget season here right after the first of the year. I'm hesitant to vote yes on this tonight because I think we've got some problems coming up. So I just want to close with this. We are spending a lot more than the $150,000 or $130,000 a year that we're not getting credit for. And the other thing is, until we go through budget season, I don't see how we can, I think this needs to be postponed until budget season at the very least. So thank you, Your Honor.
I'd like to have city staff present the options available to us.
Let's have roll call.
Nichols?
No.
Schneider?
Yes.
Thompson?
No.
Fonseca? Yes. Kell?
Yes.
Bodyhoff?
Yes.
Mitchell?
No.
Yes, it passed 4-3. Let's move on to discussion of police department request to use automatic traffic enforcement funds.
Good evening, Captain Chris Jones, the Marshtown Captain of Police Operations. I'm here this evening to request $16,004 of automated traffic enforcement funding to supplement our unmanned aerial vehicle program that we have for our department and the fire department. Right now, I think back in 2020, the council had approved over $30,000 for us to purchase an aerial device that we have utilized in a variety of different circumstances, both for police and fire. And we are currently at a point where that technology has been outdated. The device that we have currently is not being supported by the manufacturer that we had purchased it from. We are no longer able to purchase parts for it, but it is a functioning device. So we're looking to supplement and maintain our current drone in our fleet until it becomes inoperable. Right now, our department currently has 5 licensed drone operators. The fire department has 3. We have committed and made an investment in our agencies to have this technology. And as I drafted in the council memo, we are looking to continually use this throughout the city, whether it's public works or in any city department, fire, police, or anyone that needs aerial footage. The drone that we're looking at purchasing is a DJI Matrice 30T, which is really the public safety standard currently with agencies in our area. Our drone pilots have worked with Blackhawk County, the Marshall County Sheriff's Office, and Story County, who have programs that are currently up and running and have utilized this technology and are happy with it. The bonuses of the new technology is it's much quicker and easier to use. It's quicker to deploy, which is one of the key factors that we have, is to make sure that if we have all these operators available, that we can be out in the field and get our drones up in the air to be able to either locate people or assist in agency services as quickly as we can. This device is all self-contained. It'll have an optical digital zoom and thermal imaging. It's all self-contained into the drone. The current drone that we have now requires us to switch out different camera systems, which could take several minutes at a time depending on what the operations are. This drone specifically is designed for public safety use and available for, like I said, any other city department. The state of Iowa has approved ATE funding to be able to utilize for public safety measures, and we'd like council approval.
Your Honor, I'd make a motion that city staff draft a resolution approving up to $20,000 toward this project.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Does anyone else have any questions or comments?
Linda Clark, 306 South Second Avenue. I happen to have read the agenda and knowing the cost of everything that's been going on. It's been voted for arts, and I, too, like Mr. Thompson, I'd like to have gold-plated everything. We need to have our police officers and our fire department to have the necessary equipment. You all felt that it was so important for the Art Alliance. We need to support our police officers and our fire department for what they need. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Daniel Abens, 508 Friendly Drive. I don't quite understand what these would be used for, what problem these are solving. I guess that would be my main question is what is the great concern that we need to buy drones for the police, which is frankly a hard phrase to say. Police drones feels a little dystopia, a little science fiction. I have seen reports, and I don't have them in front of me, but stories of communities where these police drones are ubiquitous, and it has caused some friction between the community and the police department, a friction that I don't believe exists in this community currently, and I'd like to keep it that way. So I guess I'm confused as to what we need these for. Yeah, I guess that's my question.
I'd like to introduce Officer Brad Mossa. He's our lead drone pilot. Go ahead, Brad. Thank you.
Brad Mossa with Marshtown Police Department. So we use the drone currently for a lot of various situations. So we used it a lot during the tornado and derecho to survey damage and get some assessments from the air. Operationally on patrol, like you said, we've been 2020, I believe it was, we purchased our first drone, and we've not had issues with the community as it relates to the operation of the drones to date. So we can use the drone for seeing a long ways away. I don't remember what the current zoom level is on our drone now, but it does zoom in fairly well. I know the drone being asked for now has a 200 times zoom on the lens, and it also has thermal capability built into the same camera head. And that's our drone that we have currently does have a thermal lens as well, but we have to decide before we launch the drone if we want thermal imaging or if we want to be able to zoom. This drone gives both capabilities in the same camera head, and it's not something we have to change out. We take about 7 minutes to launch our current drone. And in a lot of situations, 7 minutes is just too much time. Once we decide we need to deploy the drone, it may be for somebody that's running from us, it may be a search and rescue situation, but 7 minutes is a long time to wait to get that device up in the air. With this drone, I believe the launch time will be under a minute. All the components are already on the drone. We just need to fold out the wings, turn it on, and we can fly. Bringing the drone back, repowering the drone. Currently, we have to shut it completely off, remove the battery, put the new battery in, turn it back on, wait for everything to connect. And again, we're several minutes before we can redeploy. With this drone, it has a dual battery setup on it, so we can land the drone, remove one battery at a time, keep the drone powered up the entire time, and get it back up in the air very quickly. So its capabilities are very, very good for our purpose, for public safety, for fire, and like Captain Jones mentioned, it can be utilized in other ways as well. If we need some aerial photography for a public works project, we can do that.
This drone also has a laser rangefinder in it that reports back GPS coordinates. So if we're, for example, looking for a missing person, we can pinpoint that person on the viewfinder and report back GPS coordinates to send rescue personnel in to recover them. So, and that's something that we currently don't have the ability to do with our drone. So,
Your Honor, I have a question for Brad, if I may. Sure. Brad, there's no one here from the fire department. You know, they partied, they're out partying somewhere. But can you speak to what they've used the drone for too? Do you have enough knowledge about what they've used it for to speak to fire control and things like that?
Yeah, so I'm actually a fire chief in a small community, not far away from here. So I know they've used it recently on a fire at the Alliant facility, looking at some heat reduction and seeing where the heat still is and where they need to continue to apply water and things of that nature. So it can kind of help them direct their efforts as well. I've seen video from Story County where they'd utilize their thermal imaging to help one of their departments. You could see where the fire was moving within a Casey's store. And so it helped them direct where to send their personnel to get the fire out quicker and prevent extra damage.
Your Honor. So the citizen, does that help understand?
Not especially.
Let me step in. Mike Tupper, Chief of Police. So we use these drones, this equipment, for emergency events. Our pilots are closely supervised. We have policies in place. We're not using it as general surveillance of the community. We would never do that. I would never allow that. Captain Jones would never allow that. But I ask you to think about some critical events that this community has faced, not just natural disaster related, but think about the missing person investigations we've dealt with over the years. Corey Brown. Okay, these are force multiplier pieces of equipment where we can use technology in an emergency situation to conduct search and rescue operations quickly, effectively, and efficiently. Okay, again, they're not used as surveillance of the community. We have used drone equipment during tactical operations looking for violent criminal offenders. Important emergency life-saving situations where we need technology and we don't always have enough people available to us to cover a certain area and search the area that we need to search, but we can use this technology to help us with these emergency events. So I know I'm not your chief of police much longer, but I trust Chris Jones and I trust the supervisors that we have in the police department, and they closely and effectively supervise these situations, and they would never allow the abuse of this equipment. And we do not use this equipment to conduct surveillance just for the fun of it of our community. Thank you.
That does help a little bit. I just had one more. My question is something along the lines of, so there's currently existing technology that's being used. Are there scenarios right now that are happening that we're concerned that might happen or that have happened where we thought, well, dang, we can't do what we want to do because we don't have a new enough drone? I guess that's my concern.
And I'll say that technology is the future of everything, including public safety, okay? And you've heard me say over and over again for 13 years, we need 50 police officers. I'm budgeted for 42. This technology is a force multiplier for us during emergency events. And there have been numerous situations during my 32-year law enforcement career where technology like this would have been helpful. Thankfully now in the year 2024 we have it. And I'm certain, although I don't want anything bad to happen in our community, I'm certain that there will be other emergency events that happen in our community where technology like this will be useful, and it will be life-saving. And again, our supervisors and our leadership within the police department closely supervises and manages this equipment, and they would not allow it to be abused.
Last one, I promise. So then it's about these funds being used for that purpose. We talked about the Arts and Culture Alliance. It's been pointed out, well, the band can do their own fundraising. Can the police department do their own fundraising?
The money that is going to be used
Yes, yes. So, and that's city funds, then, it's not like the police department's funds?
It has to be, the state legislature changed the wording of what those cameras can use the funds for.
Okay.
And basically, it comes down to police, fire, or. Infrastructure. Police, fire, infrastructure. Yeah.
Infrastructure would be great, too. I'm just throwing that out there as a use for those funds. Yeah, I think that was my last thing. Thank you.
And I would just add that we're a little bit different from the Arts and Culture Alliance. We are a government entity, a government department here. So I think it's very appropriate for these funds to be used for this purpose. Thank you.
Your Honor, may I have a question? So is it just going to be like one drone, or like how many would, like up in the air? Like if the situation, an emergency situation happens, like what would it look like type thing?
If we had an emergency situation, currently, if we purchased this one, we would have 2 available drones. Both of them would be available, but I don't know how long the one that we currently have will last unsupported without parts. So when that one goes obsolete, then we would just have the 1 drone available, which is the one we're seeking approval for.
And then, reading the memo, I saw that there were, the police use and fire use and public works use. So there's a lot of uses for it, and so I think I would, encourage the community to kind of read those. I can name a few, but from like the fire, locate the hot spots and track firefighters, public works, observe and record traffic patterns to help recommend changes, obtain aerial imagery of construction. So many uses for these, right? And so you guys got the first one in 2020, the one that you guys have?
That's correct.
Okay. And so it's been 4 years with that one, and it kind of is needing updating type
Yes.
thing? Yeah.
Yes. Like I said, the company that we purchased the drone from was purchased by another parent company. They aren't going to provide any updates to software and had notified us that they aren't going to provide any parts. So if anything goes wrong with the current drone that we have, it will be down permanently. So we're looking at getting ahead of the curve by requesting a new updated version to make sure that we have those services available. And to go back to the general needs of the public in the last year, one of the main things that I've done with the Marshalltown School District is we've measured and checked out from the aerial view of traffic patterns at Franklin School to reserve and talk about parking concerns that are in that area. So the school district, along with the police department and public works, we can, from an aerial view, take a look and just analyze some of those other public concerns that we have, not just specifically from the police department.
Thank you.
Jim Shaw, 522 North 2nd Street. So I heard that the fire department uses it, and I heard that the police department uses it. So why are we only buying one? Do they have to stop by and borrow yours for a fire? Or, why doesn't the fire department have one too? Just asking.
That may be an option, but the amount of work that we currently have with our drone, we haven't had an overlap in services. With our operators that are available, we provide training to all of our operators, and the general request for services haven't been overlapping. Yeah.
I think we've had enough talk here. Let's have roll call. Or do we need a motion?
We do have a motion on the table to authorize up to $20,000 for the purchase.
Do we have a second?
We do.
Okay, let's have roll call.
Nichols?
Yes.
Schneider?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Fonseca?
Yes.
Kell?
Yes.
Lottiehoff? Mitchell?
Yes.
That's the end of our meeting. Thank you for coming. Stop back again in a couple weeks.